The wheels were coming off of so-called ISKCON in 1987, but the vitiated GBC would not be converted to reform without a fight. It still had the power to strong-arm via excommunication, and it did so in one particular case. Its corruption was being exposed by insiders, but the point man had to be punished. It expelled a GBC-guru Panchadravida Swami from so-called ISKCON in the spring of 1987, after he had spoken out against what it had instituted in the form of the first transformation. He called the zonal acharyas politically astute, but nevertheless ordinary men. As a result, he soon joined Neo-Mutt. Remember, the temple presidents had the gurus by the short hairs ever since the zonals took over. They were big-time enjoyers. They exploited more psychophysical pleasure than anyone else in the world, because they received so much adulation not afforded to anyone else. They obviously needed to keep their disciples in the so-called ISKCON system, if for no other reason than to be able to secure enough of a portion of the plainclothes pig their men and women brought in daily. Simply to summarize the pre-Mayapur meeting of the reformers, they were the temple presidents of NEDPA. They met in Towaco, New Jersey, and it marked the final battle between compromise reform and radical reform. One of the chief leaders of the radicals did not attend, and that contributed in a major way to the outcome. Ravindra and his comrades, the Bolsheviks, prevailed against the Mensheviks. Not only did they prevail by numbers, but the most powerful scholar was on their side. The outcome was courtesy Professor Blueblood. It is virtually certain that he had been in consultation with some prominent so-called ISKCON leaders still backing the original gurus and or the gurus themselves. By Towaco, at least 2 gurus had signaled a willingness to accept a compromise. Ravindra proposed that with arguments against rejecting post-Prabhupada initiations. He warned that the schism it would cause was not worth the solution it would produce, and the Bolsheviks all bought into that argument. Compromise reform won at Mayapur, and radical reform lost. Hare Krishna.